You've heard me mention it. I'm going to read what the Book of Art has to say about the art soul. Unlike the ordinary religious soul that at birth is born with original sin, the art soul is born pure and unburdened. The pure art soul is what allows one to create without prejudice. In other words, we're born able to create, simply create. No burdens at all, nothing, no attachments. We all are born that way. However, it goes on to say, doubt, fear, and false notions about the meaning of art diminish the pure art soul. So do you see, you're born with this pure art soul, but the minute you're born, there's a chance it begins to decline. You'll see as children, however, they still have most of their pure art soul intact, and that's why they can create without prejudice. But it doesn't take long before, while they're in school or even before school, that they're starting to be directed, and they're starting their art soul is beginning to be burdened. Well, let me show you then. I've made a chart here. I hope you can see it all right. This is the basic path of artists today. Here's what they have to negotiate in order to become successful. And you see the dollar signs, so that means successful as a commodity artist. This is what's going on today. Right here. So this is what your art soul has to face. So right here is the art college. The art soul enters the art college, and it already, by the time it enters the art college, it is diminished quite a bit through high school and school. But let's say that's where it starts. Not everyone starts in art college, but most artists who are serious about wanting to get up here go to art college or take some art classes in college. So let's say that's where the starting point is. Okay, right out of art college, you have two choices here. You don't get out and start making your money as an artist. You come out of art school, art college, you either have to get a full-time job or a part-time job. That's usually what happens. So those are the two things that happen directly after. The next step, you either have a home studio or you share a studio with other artists. So there's where you do your work. Then, from that, you show your work that you produced in arts and crafts fairs, maybe cafes, office buildings, libraries, things like that. That's where the work that you've produced goes as you start to climb this ladder. And sadly to say, most graduates from the art school or people that have gone to art college, that's where they end up. They spend their whole life in this area here, working a part-time or full-time job, sharing with studio or having their own studio, but doing mostly these small art craft fairs and so on. A few of them that somehow make connections and so on, move up to the next category, which is the local galleries, local art galleries. And then they show their things in the local art gallery, and maybe a local newspaper will write a little piece about them, and they get some amateur collectors, somebody that likes to decorate their home, maybe you'll buy some of that. And that's very few make it that far, but the ones that do, some of them will make a living, but not a full living. They're still doing part-time jobs or a full-time job. Next we have if they've made it to that far, the next step is they get into an established art gallery, like in San Francisco, New York, Los Angeles, some of the bigger established art galleries. And from there, they get the local critics from the Los Angeles, San Francisco, whatever, who might write about them. They get the small-time collectors under $100,000, those people that dabble in art. And they might get some public art projects. But there's very few that make it that far. I will point out down here that the art soul, when you graduate from art school, there are other alternatives. That would be an art college professor, which there's not that many jobs around, but that would be a job. And you bypass all this, you'll go directly up here to established art gallery. But even then, because you're a teacher more than you are an artist, art teachers pretty much stay in that established art section. They don't go much beyond that. They seldom ever make it up here. I don't think any of them ever have. At any rate, the next step would be, after this established art, then the next step would be the big time, would be a major art, in a major museum. And you'd get an article or a book printed by established art critics. And serious collectors then, or investors, would start buying your work. And you'd go to auction houses. That's the top. That's Picasso up here. He's the ultimate, Pablo Picasso, the ultimate commodity artist. Along the way, you'll see there's devils around here, and that's the reason that attacks your art soul as you're going up. You'd have, there's smoking and drinking, there's loose morals, there's lack of discipline, you become a fornication addict, cursing, carousing with loose women, personal hygiene and appearance is neglected. They're trying and using all types of drugs. You end up here with a gigantic ego, and you become self-centered and undisciplined. These are all the things that attack your art soul as it's traveling up this way. So who would want to do that? But that's all there is. That's all we got today. That's what artists do when they get out of school. Now, I'm going to give you an alternative. But next week we're going to talk about the man who made this the best, who was the poster boy for this, is Pablo Picasso. We're going to talk about him next week. So in the meantime, go to my website, send me an email, and I'll see you next week.